because I've been playing guitar just about. I started playing when I just turned 13, and I didn't really know much about them, how to use them properly. And to this day, I'm still not a huge enthusiast when it comes to pedals, but I do get plenty of use out of them. And I'm gonna show you some of the pedals that I have in my collection as of now. I'm planning on selling a lot of these pedals, so I thought I'd show some of them off before I get rid of them. So we'll start with this one. We'll start off with some of the pedals made by Boss, probably one of the most well-known effects pedal manufacturers. This is the chromatic tuner, an essential piece in any musician's arsenal of effects pedals. Got the Velcro on the back. I think I got this 8 years ago when I had just moved to Chicago. I had always been using the Snark tuner prior, and I never quite realized how silly it kind of looked on being on stage with the Snark tuner compared to all the professionals who use tuners like these that are not in plain sight. But this is a pretty solid one, kind of minimalist. A couple different features. You can change what pitch you tune to. It has these two ports here. Inputs for power, one that goes in, one that goes out, so that you can charge your pedal, and then your pedal can charge other pedals in the signal chain. The TU3 chromatic tuner from Boss. TU3 chromatic tuner from Boss. Let's go over a couple more Boss pedals that I have. This is the Boss BF2 flanger pedal in a nice Barney the Dinosaur purple here. It's got 4 knobs, your manual here, your depth, your rate, and your resonance. Resonance, rate, depth, manual. The Boss Flanger BF222. This one's a little stiffer than the others. I bought this pedal from a guy on the Chicago Instrument Exchange Facebook page. I met him in a bar. Gave it to me for about $30. Not bad. This has gotten a good amount of use for a pedal that's pretty low in features, but sometimes the minimalist stuff is easier to work with because I don't overthink things. there's another jack where you can enter a tap tempo on the side that I used to have. I use that a lot. This pedal definitely gets used in my guitar setups. Boss Digital Delay DD7. Alright, one more big old pedal from Boss is the RC30 Loop Station. The RC30 Loop Station. This one looks a little more complicated than it really is. It makes looping easy, but it's also not a very practical looping pedal for live shows, unless your whole live set revolves around the preset tempos in this pedal here. It's got 2 foot switches, one for starting and stopping, one for recording. You can access tap tempos from these. And it has all these loop effects that you can use. They're not very practical, but some of them sound very cool. Like the send down here. Get kind of a slowing down the vinyl type sound. Lots of Velcro on the back. When I was in high school, I spent a lot of time in Boston attending classes at Berklee College of Music. I had this with me back in the day, and I used to use it all the time to practice tracks too. Definitely got a lot of use back in the day, but not much these days. Sometimes I use this to practice dialing in tones when I can't play guitar and move knobs around at the same time. So I'll put this on the side and play some guitar in it, and then work on something else as it feeds the sound through it. It has a memory bank with 99 slots for pre-recorded tracks, and you can have multiple tracks on 2 different channels here. It's a lot of memory. Here's another popular pedals company, MXR. This is the Dynacomp. The Dynacomp from MXR. It's only got 2 knobs. One for output and one for sensitivity. Kind of basic structure. Has a reliable sound, but not really much you can do with it. Pretty basic. Works better for guitar rather than bass, from my experience. But I like pedals that are small and minimalist and convenient to use. Another pedal from MXR I got this for Christmas maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm all about having pedals where you don't have to tinker with much on stage. They're more for tone sculpting rather than wacky showboaty effects. But I use this a lot. However, the light, there's a little light, the LED light that comes on for this gain switch is broken, so I can never really tell if it's on or not. This has got 2 outputs in case you want to send your signal out in stereo. Some of my pedals that have standard switches, I like to put these little buttons on just to make them more visible and more pressable. I don't have one on the Dynacom because it covers up the light, so I can't tell if it's on or not though. But a lot of them have these pedals. Here's a very well-known pedal in the rock and music community. This is the Ibanez Tube Screamer TS9. Ibanez Tube Screamer TS9. It's got 3 switches for drive, for tone, and for level. It's great for getting nice rock overdrive sounds for lead guitar, for solos, and moments where you need just an extra grit on more simple lines. A nice bright green. I'm not sure if Ibanez really makes a whole lot of pedals that are as iconic as this one, but this gets a lot of use. Probably the best of the distortion related pedals that I use regularly, but I don't use it more for like rhythmic stuff. It's more for just punchy melodies that need to come out in the mix when I'm playing live. This company, TC Electronic, they make a lot of pedals kind of simply designed. This one's a little bit dirty. This is the Corona Chorus by TC Electronic. This is a chorus pedal. Pretty minimalist features, but I like being able to adjust the speed and the depth of chorusy effects. I'm a big fan of having really fast chorus, obtaining something of a Leslie effect on simple, really thin-toned guitar lines. But I also like really slow songs that use really slow chorusy effects that kind of just glisten in and out. You can really feel them. It also has 2 inputs for stereo or mono. I almost never use the stereo inputs in my pedal board. Just too many cables, not enough room. I got this when I first moved to Chicago, way before the pandemic made the word Corona more infamous. It's not the best sounding chorus pedal, but it's the only one I got, and therefore I will make the best of it. There's a little switch here. reinforcing effects. This pedal is the noise reducer NR300, developed by Behringer. Behringer does not make very reliable pedals. They're kind of the market pantry equivalent to pedals, and a lot of them you can find pretty cheap. I got this pedal from a guy that I met in a parking lot off of the Chicago Music Exchange on Facebook. And the guy who gave me this pedal ended up playing in a band that I would play with a couple times in years after we'd met. Fun to kind of reminisce. But I hope he knows that I didn't get a whole lot of use out of this. I mean, I do use it a lot, but it's not the greatest, and it's kind of flimsy. And one day maybe I'll get a better one. It's got two modes. One for muting the signal and just reducing the signal. Two knobs for threshold and decay. We're gonna get into some kind of crappier pedals, for lack of a better word. This one is the Hothead Distortion by Digitech. The Hothead Distortion by Digitech. It's got 4 knobs on it. And a nice bright orange. This is a really noisy distortion pedal. Doesn't have a whole lot of meat, but it gets really loud. Lots of frequencies. In high school, I had a friend that was moving out of her house, and she had a guitar, and she had this pedal. And when she moved out, she just said I could have it, because she never really played much anymore. I've gotten some use out of it, but it's not in my pedal board these days. All the pedals got some Velcro on the back. All these pedals could also use a little bit of cleaning and dusting as well. And this right here is my first guitar pedal that was given to me for Christmas. The following Christmas after I got my first guitar. This is the Fab, F-A-B, metal pedal by Dan Electro. Dan Electro. It's kind of a cheap distortion. The tone is surprisingly divisive. You get a lot of sounds just from one little knob, but none of them are studio quality by any means. It's actually very light. It's one of the lightest and smallest pedals I have. Dan Electro makes guitars as well that I am quite the fan of, but don't own one. They sound very bright but also clean and work well with the simple distorted leads. They have kind of smaller necks on the guitars, and I like a nice big neck. But their pedals are just okay. This pedal right here, probably haven't seen before. This is the 2020 Overdrive. 2020 Overdrive. Last year, my band was on tour with another band called Knucklebuck. They're a pop-punk band from the Chicago area, like me. We toured the Northwest, and they had this as their signature pedal that they sold at their merch table. It was developed and engineered by their guitarist, Nick, and Nick allowed me to use one of these as an alternative to an overdrive distortion pedal that I had on tour that wasn't working as well. So he let me borrow this one, and at the end of the tour I bought it and kept it. It's basically got two distortions in one that's just a simple boost, and one that you can kind of tinker with the specs a little bit. But it's a quality pedal. A lot of good memories associated with it. Alright, we got this big guy here. This, of course, is the Crybaby wah pedal. Another iconic pedal used by everyone from Jimi Hendrix to Kirk Hammett to Tom Morello. Get a change in tone, a moving dip in the EQ as the pedal goes up and down. This is also one of my oldest pedals that I've had since high school. I got a lot of use of this back when I was more into just regular old guitar-oriented rock music. But as my interests dove more into modulated chorusy, just more psychedelic tones, this one kind of lost interest in me. But I still have it all these years. Big guy here. Alright, I have one more to show you. It's not so much a pedal as it is a whole rig here. This will be the last one here. This is the Line 6 Podgo. Line 6 Podgo. Unfortunately, as of recently, this whole thing doesn't work anymore. It actually does turn on, but none of the inputs here work anymore. This whole thing replaced my pedal board for both of my live sets as a guitarist and a bassist in my two different bands. But recently, I had a leak in my house and my basement flooded, and some of my gear was destroyed. anyway, because it's pretty neat and has all these little things I can kind of tinker with here. It has just a built-in database of effects pedals that you can use. Everything from distortion to modulation to delay to filters to wah and volume. Some of them sound better than others. Some of them are meant to copy very specific and well-known effects pedals. Line 6 is known for quantity over quality, but this definitely sufficed for my live setup, as I don't need too many things for playing guitar in one band and bass in the other. You can use all of these effects loops inputs, so you can send a signal out and then back in, depending on if you have pedals that you want to use within it. The features were kind of limiting. You only have the 6 that you can toggle on and off, and 2 of those are always reserved for equalizer and compressor, and 1 is always reserved for your effects loop, so realistically you only have 3 effects that you can toggle on and off just freely. But you could design your own preamp and cab systems in here with a wide selection, which was pretty neat, but applies better for recording rather than a live setting. I used to record vocals through this a lot, developing presets specifically for my recordings so that I could reuse them on other songs.